So I really just wanted to go over a couple of things that's going to be in the final documents. And so this will give you a bit more time to, get your stuff together if you need to. And then for those of you in the Vancouver area, if anyone's in town, I know it's hard in the summer, but August 28th, I'd like to get together and have a little in-person meeting. And I'm thinking probably John Lawson Park. We've had a meeting there before for the last Portugal trip, which was quite nice. You can sit outside under those awnings at the tables. Maybe we can go for a little walk after if the weather's nice. Should be good. So first of all, does anyone have any questions they want to start off with? Anything that's been burning that you've been wanting to talk about? Yeah. Hi, Nancy.
Oops. Hi, Hannah. Nice to see you.
It's you.
What kind of electrical adapters?
Yes. Okay. So that's going to be on our packing list. And what I'll do after this meeting is I'll send you out the packing list. It has a picture of it.
Nice.
European ones are, they're 2 prongs. And I'll send you a picture of it so you can see.
Thanks.
Yeah. And you don't need to get a converter for the currency if you don't want to, unless you're using something like a hairdryer or a hair straightener. But a lot of the times the hotels, they have hair dryers, so you don't need to bring your own if you don't want to. Yeah, but important for phones and tablets and all that stuff. Yeah, everyone needs to charge everything.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Because we booked this trip so long ago, I'm in Morocco mind at the moment, and getting back into Portugal, I'm like, it's not that far away now. So
no.
It's great. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been talking to our local guides quite a bit, and they're super excited to have us back. And they're lovely. Hopefully we get the same 2 or 3 guides that we had last time. They're really, really nice guys, and they're so passionate about their country. So they're excellent tour guides. So we have 2 leaders with us. They will have 2 vehicles, and then myself as well. And we're pretty much doing the same itinerary, almost the same as what we did in 2022. So I know the areas a little bit better than I did before. So if you have any questions about things to do, and if you're arriving early or staying later, I can always help with that as well.
Is this, I'm a little mixed up. Is this the Portugal or the Morocco
Portugal
trip?
Yeah, it's Portugal tonight.
I got the wrong trip.
Oh, no. For those of you who don't know, we also have a trip to Morocco in April next year.
Too. And Judy, you're going on the other trip, right? To Morocco?
I'm going on the
second trip.
That's the one that we were going to be roommates with.
Yes.
That's why I was confused here.
That's why I'm confused, yes.
You're not my roommate for Portugal.
Okay.
Okay.
Judy's my roommate.
Okay.
Exactly. Hello. Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I said, I'm sure Kat is my roommate, but I'm too busy thinking of Morocco as well because of all this having to do it quickly and then change the dates because of it being in April. So
right.
yeah, sorry about that, Marilyn.
Okay.
Anyway,
yes, we're talking about Portugal tonight.
Okay, it's Portugal.
We're in Portugal tonight.
That's
okay.
So funny. All right, so a couple things to go through. So in our final documents, I'm going to be providing a booklet. If you haven't traveled with us before, we do a booklet that has our day-to-day itinerary, information about accommodation, which I did email out to the group already. A frequently asked questions list, packing list. If you've booked insurance with us, I'll provide your insurance confirmation, your flight details, and any pre or post arrangements that you've made with us as well. I'll have all the confirmations for that. So it's all together in a nice booklet. It has some note pages at the back. So if you want to make any notes, in the meeting or while you're traveling, you can do that as well. Cindy just organized a tour to Santa Fe, which was in June, and Kathy was
on that. It was fun.
And you probably know this, Kathy. Cindy did this for the first time, I think, for Women with Wings, was that if you didn't want to have a hard copy of your documents, she made it all into one electronic document. And instead of having that printing cost and the binding cost, we donated those fees to a charity. I'm not sure which one she chose to in Santa Fe, but we'll be doing the same for Portugal. And I have asked our local guides in Portugal to recommend some charities, maybe like a women's organization or something to do with hiking for kids, something like that. So if you're interested in doing that, you can let me know, and I'll also send this out in another email too. So we'll be doing a donation instead of doing a hard copy. But I know some of you like to have hard copies, and I certainly do as well. So it's up to you. Okay. Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about tonight. One of them is going to be the transfers. The arrival transfer, because everyone is arriving on before the tour, we're not including the arrival transfer anymore because everyone's arriving at different times. So the taxis are really easily available at the Porto airport. You grab your bags, head outside. There's a taxi stand. They're green taxis in Porto. And for the most part, everyone speaks English, and you can even show on your documents, you'll have the hotel name, and you can even just show them what the name is and they can take you there. It's about 40 euros, I would say, for a taxi, and takes about half an hour to get there, depending on traffic, depending on what time you're arriving at. And there are going to be a couple of people arriving at the same time. I think on the 24th at 7:30 p.m. is when there's 4 or 5 of you arriving in British Airways. And so I'll also provide this in an email for everyone that wants to know who's traveling with who. You can meet each other in Vancouver at the airport and see each other again in Heathrow on that long, or Gatwick on that long layover. And then some people are arriving 3 days before, 2 days, and myself and Joni and Jill were all arriving on the 24th at about 2:30 p.m. So yeah, pretty much everyone is getting there early. And then on the departure transfer, most people are leaving from Faro at 11 a.m. And that's either going to be British Airways going back through Heathrow, or there's a couple people that also are around the 11 a.m. mark that are going somewhere else. So we'll be leaving from Sagres, which is our last destination, around 7:30 in the morning to meet that 11 a.m. departure in Faro. There's going to be a couple people are thinking that are leaving around 3 p.m. From Faro, and we'll arrange for a private transfer for you in Sagres to take you to the airport, so you don't have to wake up so early. Okay, so that's the transfers. Any questions about that? Oh, nice and easy. Okay. Also, what I like to do is travel with a local SIM card for your phone, having data and cell phone coverage. And I need that obviously as a guide, but you don't have to if you don't want to. I know that some phone providers provide like pay as you go international days. So you could pay, I think mine is with Fido, and you could do $15 a day. There's my cat. She's photobombing me. You can pay $15 a day and you can have use of your phone, or you can get a SIM card and have the use of traveling also. It doesn't affect your contacts or any of your apps or anything like that, but you can just use your data as you normally would. At the Porto airport, it's called Vodafone, which is their phone provider. It's right after you pick up your luggage. It's about 20 euros for a month. They have like a tourism package, a travel package, and it's 25 gigabytes of data. So it's quite a lot to last you for 30 days. And that's what I'm going to be taking because I like to have the use of Google Maps. I'm not very savvy when it comes to directions, so I like to have that. Yeah, Kathy?
So is the Vodafone physical SIM you put in your phone?
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a physical SIM. Yeah. So I also like to travel with a little baggie, and then I just put my SIM in it and then hide it safely so I never forget it. Yeah, they do have electronic SIMs nowadays, and I haven't used that before, but that would just be data, that wouldn't be phone. But I need the phone obviously because I need to make calls to suppliers and stuff. But for you, maybe a electronic SIM would work as well, and you can even pre-purchase that in Canada before you go. So
I've tried to use them a few times, and sometimes I've had luck connecting it, and sometimes I haven't. So
okay, that's good to know. Which company have you used before?
Airolo,
okay.
Airolo.
No, cool.
In Italy and in the US.
Oh wow, that's really neat. It's a good thing to have anyway. I think if you are going earlier, staying later, you're doing your own thing, then being able to navigate the streets, I think, is a good idea. having the Google Maps. Also in Portugal, all over, they have a lot of Ubers and Lyft, like those rideshare companies, and you need to have an app for that. So having that on your phone could be helpful too. But there are lots of taxis too, so you could take taxis or ride shares. So yeah, that's just a little bit about the phone plans. Okay, packing list. The most important thing I think is shoes. And I know that they take up a lot of space in your luggage. You need to have comfortable walking shoes for walking throughout the city, all the cities. A lot of the places we're going to are cobblestones. So it's not like super flat areas. Everything is really hilly. Porto and Lisbon you're on a hill the whole time. So being able to be comfortable throughout the day is really key. You can even I walked in Tiva sandals most of the time, which are really comfortable, or, you know, a sneaker, whatever's good for you, right? But having something that is open toe or closed toe is good, because we came into quite a bit of rain when we were in Lisbon last time, and I was not prepared with I only had hiking boots or sandals, so that wasn't really ideal. So having shoes and clothing also for all weather would be ideal, okay? A day pack for walking around town, and also maybe something you can use that for hiking as well. We will be having packed lunches when we're hiking on that last week, and you'll have to carry your own lunch with you and your own water bottle. And the guides also have, they take really big like jugs of water to replenish our water while we're on the hikes. But yeah, being able to have your own snacks and food, and, you know, a jacket if you want to have it on, take it off for later. So day pack. Portugal's a fairly safe country, I would say. I didn't really see a lot of crime or pickpocketing, but in Porto and Lisbon, it's very busy. It's a super touristy area now, and pickpocketing can be prolific in the cities. And so being aware of your surroundings and not being a flashy tourist, you know, not having really like vibrant jewelry, that sort of thing. Don't leave your camera out on the table. If you have a money belt, I would really recommend bringing that, and then you can have that underneath your top. I myself travel with a fanny pack, and I have it like across my chest, and I have my passport in there at all times, so I know where it is. And I do carry a backpack as well. I don't generally travel with the backpack on my front just because I have my fanny pack, but I have it on my front, and then I have some cash in there. I spread out my cash as well, so if something did happen to that fanny pack, I would still have a backup cash somewhere else. And you can spread that between, you know, your checked luggage, carry-on, backpack, money belt, so that if one thing gets stolen, you're not hooped. Okay, so that's another important thing to bring with you, some sort of money belt or bag or something like that that's a bit safer. And hiking poles, if you hike with poles normally in your area, then I would recommend bringing them. If you don't normally hike with them, then you're probably used to it, it's fine. Our guides do carry 2 extra pairs with them at all times in case you don't travel with it and you think that you want to use them. The trails are a real mixed bag. So we have really soft, deep sand. There's going to be rock, like loose rocks, packed sand, packed gravel. So it's a little bit of everything. The day before each of the hiking days we have, or each day in general, we have an orientation to talk about what the next day looks like. And at that point, we'll talk about what shoes might be appropriate to wear. Sometimes some of the ladies on the last trip on the sandy hikes, they wore their Tiva sandals, and they enjoyed that more than having running shoes or boots. So we'll have the option to, you know, to talk about that and be prepared. And then also you could be like, oh, it's going to be a flat hiking day. Maybe I don't need to bring my poles that day. For hiking poles, if you have a spike on the end of them, they will not allow that on the plane on carry-on. You can put it in your checked luggage. If you are taking just carry-on and you have a spike and you're in the Vancouver area and you're coming to the meeting in August, I will take your poles for you and I'll check them, and then I'll give you them when we get to Portugal. Okay. If they don't have, some of them have like a little hiking boot. It looks like it's like a rubber stamp and it's not actually a spike. those are fine to do carry on with. Okay. And the all of the times when we're transferring to hotels or transferring into your vans or whatever, you'll have myself and the 2 guides to help with your luggage. But just be aware that's there's a couple of the accommodations we're staying at that don't have elevators. So don't bring your biggest suitcase. Maybe bring a medium one and you can buy one on the way back or something. There's only a couple. I think there's the Schist Village that doesn't have one, and then the library hotel that we're staying at in Obidos. But they're only like 2 floors high anyway, so it won't be that bad. Okay, is there any questions about packing, clothing packing? Bringing a water bottle, obviously important. All the water in Portugal is drinkable and tap water, which is nice. And most of the hotels we're staying at will have a fridge in your room, so you can even put your water bottle in there and make it nice and cold for the next day. It's funny though that they have drinkable tap water, but at the restaurants, they don't serve tap water. Even if you ask for it, they will serve bottled water and they will charge you for it. They don't have free water, which I think is weird. They also serve these, like, you know, in North America, you get bread and olive oil sometimes, right, at the restaurant, and it's free. They will serve bread and olive oil and these little cheeses and olives as soon as you sit down. You're like, oh, this is nice. You know, I feel like, you know, they're taking care of me, but they will charge you for it. You can wave it away if you don't want it, you know, if you're not that hungry or whatever. But as soon as it's on the table, they will charge you for it. Little fun fact. They also, yeah, Kathy.
So what temperature do you expect this to be when we're there? Is it mid to high 20s, low 20s?
It's going to be mid 20s. I would say on average it's about 25 during the day. At night, probably about 18 or so. The Algarve is definitely hotter than the north because it's like, you know, on the coast and nice, hot, sunny. It's a lot of sun in the Algarve. So yeah, I would be prepared for all weather if you can. Layers are great. Having a light rain jacket that can squish up and you can put in your backpack. We did end up buying rain ponchos for everyone because it was like torrential rain on the first 2 days we were hiking. So you don't have to bring your rain jacket. We'll have something for you. Yeah. So yeah, around, I would say on average 25. And a lot of the places we're going to have a pool. So that's quite nice. I hope it's hot enough for a pool, but not too hot that we can't, you know, hike around everywhere. And yeah, in Porto, I would say that's the most north that we'll get, and that'll probably be the coolest, and then it'll get hotter as we go down. Good question. You could bring also a little travel umbrella if you want to, but you can buy that there too if you want.
Will there be places we can do laundry?
Yeah, so at pretty much every hotel, they offer a laundry service. I would recommend doing it on the latter half of the trip when we are staying at accommodations for 2 nights. So you can drop off your laundry when you arrive on the day of check-in and then pick it up in the evening of the next day. And then we leave the morning after. So you'll have that extra time for them to do it. Okay. If we arrive, let's say early afternoon, and then we're leaving the next day, they won't have time to do that. So you could also bring some laundry soap and do a little sink wash too, which I've been known to do, at least for socks or something, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, moisture wicking socks, highly recommend. Those easily dry, you know, like the wool light hiking ones. That's a really good thing to bring as well. Okay, talked about weather, packing.
Hiking boots. Do you recommend hiking boots versus trail shoes, or?
Right. So it depends on what you normally like to have. Okay, so hiking boots, if you're doing a high top, that could be good because it will most likely block out a lot of the sand. But generally, they're also a lot hotter. And if you're hiking in 25, 28 degree weather, you could be pretty hot in your feet. Hiking in trail shoes is what I'm going to be doing, or like a low, you know, not like a super high top, kind of like a mid is what I have. and that it blocks out most of the sand, but you can always take your shoes off and dump your sand out of your feet. And it's really, for me, it's the comfortability in the heat. Like I get sweaty feet really quickly, so I don't want to have a high top. And then also
And-
being interchangeable between walking in the city. Maybe you have like trail shoes that are, you know, like the low ones that are more of like a scoop around your ankle. You could use those for walking in towns too.
Would Gore-Tex ones be too hot? Mine are all Gore-Tex.
Is Gore-Tex breathable?
They
think
don't
so.
breathe really inside. I don't think. Like I know that they get hot in the summer here.
Right.
So
Okay. So maybe
Yeah.
something that's not Gore-Tex
not
might be a good
Gore-Tex.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just suffer with it.
Yeah. And yeah, there's not really, I was gonna say there's not really a lot of sporting goods stores where we're going either if you needed to buy something else. I think Lisbon would probably be
Mhm.
your last and best bet, but then you wouldn't be using them for that week.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe have a
Chanel-
look at something that doesn't, that's
Maybe
not
Chanel
Gore-Tex. Yeah.
Why don't you keep going off?
Okay,
Plug.
so that's, yeah, good questions, weather and packing. The funds that you need to bring. Okay, so if you want to bring cash, I would recommend bringing a mixture of cash and your credit card. Credit cards can be really accepted in most places, restaurants, large purchases, like if you're buying artwork, something like that. If you're going to markets, like if you're going to buy like they have cork purses, for instance, a lot of cork items, or ceramics, cash is probably better because it's not very expensive. And then if you're using your credit card, you might get charged for an international charge fee on top of the exchange rate. So I'd really only use your credit card if you are buying something that's a bigger purchase. When dining as a group for all of the meals that aren't included in the itinerary, Portugal does not split bills. So if you are going out to dinner, let's say like a group of 5 of you, for instance, then I would really recommend having cash and having small denominations if you can, so you can pay for your portion. Or if you don't, maybe one person pays for the meal and then another person pays the next day. You can work it out, but they do not split bills. So it can make it a bit confusing.
What about ATM? Can you get the euro from ATM?
Yeah, you can get them. There's lots of ATMs everywhere. Not so much, I would say, well, they wouldn't have one in the Schist village that we're going to, or in where we're going to the winery area, which is just after Porto, so you probably won't need an ATM there. But all the other towns that we're going to, they have lots of ATMs, so that's easy to get out. And I don't like to travel with a lot of cash, so if I were you, I would maybe take some from Vancouver, or sorry, from your home, and bring it with you, and then take some out as you go if you need it. And also look up who your sister bank is too, because you can take out cash from sister banks without getting charged an ATM withdrawal fee. So for instance, I'm with Scotiabank, and I know that my European sister bank is BNP Paribas. So that could save you a couple bucks. Okay. And for tipping, the gratuities for our guides are included in the rate that you paid for Women with Wings. If you want to tip for dinners, you can, although tipping is not generally a thing in Portugal. If you have a really good meal, perhaps you just want to round up your bill, you can do that. If there are any porters at the hotels or cleaning staff or anything that go above and beyond that you feel like you want to tip, having some small denominations is a good idea as well. So you could just keep those as you go along, because there's nothing smaller in the bills than a €5 bill, which you don't really need to have, but a couple coins here and there. Okay. Apps now for traveling. Some good apps that I use are Google Translate, which I love, and I still can't pronounce Portuguese words, but Google Translate is great because you can type what you want to say or speak it into your phone, and then you could hold the phone up to the person, press play, and it speaks it in Portuguese to them, which is so cool. or
Ah.
they can read it and they can reply to you on text. But I love that. And you could also download it offline. So if you don't have a SIM card, you're not using your phone, download it offline. You can have all these sayings all downloaded and you can scroll through and, you know, and have some communication, which is really cool. Another app is the XE currency exchange. That's the one that I use. Once you're there for a little bit, you'll understand what the exchange rate is, but I like to have that on hand at the beginning. And you just type in, again, you can download this offline as well. You could just type in, you know, it's €5 and this is the Canadian equivalent, so you know. Lastly is the WhatsApp app. Now we use this all the time in our groups to communicate between us. So what I'll do is I'll add everyone on the tour into a group chat and you'll be able to share photos with each other. You can communicate before and after during the tour. A lot of the times we like to be like, oh, this, you know, this time last year we were in this area in Portugal, and you can share a nice little memory. But it's also great while we're traveling, and I can send messages out to the group saying, okay, I'm going here for dinner at this time. If anyone wants to join me, meet me at the lobby. And everyone will get it. You know, if they're hanging out in their room, I don't have to knock on everyone's door. So it's a good way to communicate between the group. And yeah, nice and open communication. So that's WhatsApp. If you don't already have that, download that, and then I will send out a group invite. Do that in August, probably. So yeah, so those are the 3 apps that I recommend, okay? Now, hiking abilities. I did talk about this in our first meeting, but that was so long ago. We'll just talk about a bit about the terrain, what to expect. I know I did with the boots, but so yeah, walking in the streets, cobblestones, pavement, it can be a bit jarring on the lower back. So having some comfortable shoes with good support is a good idea. Walking on the hiking week, a mix between soft, deep sand, packed gravel, loose rock, things like that. A lot of the times the trails are flat. Sometimes they're undulating, like they're going a little bit. There's a couple times when we have to cross over ravines. So we'll go down, cross over the ravine, and then come back up. So it's quick because we're going down and up. We had to do that a couple times, but you won't ever have to rock climb or do anything crazy. And our guides are great. You know, they'll hold our hands and stuff as we go down. Okay, are there any questions about that, about the terrain for hiking? No. Okay. Lovely. Thank you so much. The accommodations. I did send you all the list of accommodations that we're staying at, and nothing's changed. We're staying at those ones, which I think all look really lovely. I'm excited for the one in the in Mondheim, the wine district region. That looks beautiful. Looking over the wineries, I'm very excited about that one. The highlight, I think, and this is totally different from what we've done, is staying at the Schist Village in Cadera. And I know this is intimidating for some people because of the sleeping situation, but I promise it'll be worth it. If you don't remember, the sleeping situation is that we have 5 houses that we've rented, and I believe there are about 10 in total, 8 to 10, and they are primarily vacation rentals. So they are different mixture of rooms. All the layouts are different. They'll have little kitchens and living rooms as well, and 1 to 2 bathrooms. So we'll assign you your house and your room and everything. Some people will be having a single room, some sharing, and some people will have a pull-out sofa or a cot. And I know that's not ideal, but I'll make it up to you in happy hour. But it'll be really fun, and we haven't stayed there before, and it's a really big part of Portuguese history, so it's a cool spot. Yeah, all the accommodations are really unique. We're not staying in any of the big chains, and that really can provide a more personal experience. And we like to have, you know, happy hour get together for an orientation in the evening before dinner. And having the small accommodations, they allow us to do that. You know, I can bring in my own cheese and they don't, you know, slap me on the wrist or something. So yeah, it's really nice. That's accommodations. Okay, flights, we've talked about the arrivals, and yeah, I think the main thing to keep in mind is flexibility. We always say that on all of our tours because we're not a big chain tour company like Globus or, we like to have an itinerary and we want to stick to it, but there might be some circumstances that we maybe have to change things. The main thing being weather. I know on the hiking week that we had in 2022, we had to change up our itinerary because it was so rainy. We just couldn't do some of the hikes. So knowing that could change. And some things like, if it's too busy to go to one area, we might switch it up and go there the next day, something like that. So yeah, flexibility is key. We hope everyone has a really good time and we're there to cater to you. If you have anything that you specifically want to do or see in any of these areas, we'll make it happen. Any restaurants you want to go to, any food you want to try. We'll be having a lot of pastel de nata, whether you like it or not. They have it everywhere, which is the custard Portuguese custard.
Oh, yeah.
They're really good. Yeah.
I'll try and force it down.
We'll force you. Their food. I didn't talk about food. It's very hearty, I would say, in Portugal. In the north, they have more like meat dishes. And then when you're on the coast in the Algarve, it's very seafood heavy. There's always a vegetarian option for those of you that are veggie, just not as much as I would say as meat and fish options. They do have a lot of octopus and squid in the south. That's kind of their main thing. They do fish stews and things like that. But all the restaurants that we go to are really fun. They're local. We usually meet the owner, the chef, and yeah, it's a cool environment. I'm looking forward to getting back there. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. That's pretty much goes through all the documents as a brief overview of what we'll be providing. Does anyone have any questions?
What time do we meet in Porto for dinner?
Yeah, so we'll have our orientation. I think everyone's arriving the day before. There's one person that's taking the train from Lisbon to Porto, I believe, in the early morning. So it'll be probably about 5 p.m. or 6 is going to be our orientation. But I'll provide that closer and let you know.
On the 25th?
On the 25th, yeah. Yeah. There's one person that is not arriving until the 25th.
I'm gonna be there 2 days early, so.
Yeah, you and Marilyn as well.
Okay.
And
2
Shay.
days before, and Shay. Yeah.
Okay,
So you can all meet each other at the hotel.
great.
Yeah. And also when having the app too, you can
Right.
on WhatsApp, you can either chat in there or you can click on at the top it says the group, and you can click on it and you can see everyone's name and their email address or phone number, and you can communicate directly with them as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Portugal. Well, how long is it now? It's about just over 2 months. It'll fly by. Summer goes by so fast.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How many of us are on the trip?
We have 14 plus me
Okay,
and
cool.
the 2 guides.
Nice.
Yeah, so nice sized group, which is good because we can have dinner together and it's not crazy busy and a big group and loud. So yeah, and we can. Yeah,
Maybe
sorry,
we'll be
Marilyn.
loud.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll be the
15
party
women
animals. I'm
together
sure.
is going to be loud. Sorry.
Yeah.
Will you provide a map to show us all the little places that we're going to? Is that something?
Yeah, that's gonna be in our itinerary. I can show you now though if you want.
I was trying to look up some of these places and the map of Portugal was too big, so I couldn't find some.
Oh, okay, let me just bring up Google Maps and then I'll share my screen and we can go through it. Yeah, because there's a few of the smaller towns that are hard to spot.
Why it keeps doing that?
Okay.
Started screen sharing.
Okay. Does
There
that
we
work?
go.
Oh, there we go. Can you see a map?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's cut off though.
Okay.
Oh,
All right,
oh yeah,
let's zoom
there
in.
we go. Yep.
Good. Okay.
Mhm.
So scroll out. This is Portugal. right here. And then on the other side is Spain, very close to Spain. So you're gonna fly, for the most part, everyone is flying into Porto, which is right up here in the north. And in Porto, zoom right in. This is the Douro River, which, if you know, is a very popular river cruise river, and it goes all the way inland and into Spain as well. Our hotel that we're staying at is, I should have had it saved already, but it's kind of in the center of Porto, up here a little bit. It's really easy to walk around, and close to a lot of the sites that we can go see, in restaurants. And then coming down, Porto is also known as the village or the city of 7 bridges, something like that. They have all of these bridges that connect to either side of the city, and you can walk across a lot of them. You can take a little boat tour that goes along the Douro, which is a nice way to see the city. And so that's Porto. And then we're going to go inland. I'm not going to be able to find it here. One dime. Okay, so we're going from Porto here all the way into Mondime, which is the inland. And this is the kind of the wine region, one of the wine regions. And Villarreal here. So it's kind of this whole region is where we're going. It can get quite humid inland. When we were there last year, in 22, it was pretty hot. So don't have that coastal breeze, and it makes for some really nice grapes. They're really known for their Vino Verde, which is the green, well, it directly translates to green wine, but it can be rosé or red as well. It's more about the region. Okay, so from there, we then head to, we go to, where is it in here? Should have been prepared with the map. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Threw it on me.
I know, I apologize.
No, it's fine.
Buy you a
I
drink.
want to bring up the right name of the, here we go, Cadera. So otherwise I won't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. So we go from Porto in here, Villarreal, and then we come down to the countryside here, just outside of Coimbra. And this is the schist village, the Cadera. Okay, and then the next day we go into Coimbra, which is this town here. Coimbra is a big university town, and they have a river running through it as well. Coimbra has a north part of the city and a south part, and the north is high up on the hill, and it's where most of the oldest buildings are. And then you can walk down through all these winding streets and see they have, I don't know, hundreds of churches, really nice, all the way down to the river. And this is where we're going to have free time. So our guides will drop us off at the top, and then we'll have time to walk down and then get some lunch there. In every kind of district or area that we're going to, they have either savory food or like a sweet pastry that is known for that area. And so we'll talk about that as well, so we can kind of taste our way around Portugal. That might not be available in other towns. Okay, so then from Coimbra we go, that's just for the day. It's Coimbra, by the way, is how you pronounce it. I would never have known that until I went there. Coimbra. We go down south here to Nazaré on the coast. And if you've watched the 100-Foot Wave on HBO, this is the town where it's filmed at. If you don't know that, highly recommend watching it before you go. It's this town is really known for big wave surfing, and 80 to 100 feet, 110, and people are mental and they surf these waves. But so the town is on, again, 2 levels really. this level here is the higher level, and then you can take a funicular down, and you can be then be a beach level. So from on the top level here at Ferrol de Nazaré, that is a lighthouse that they converted for this when
Watching.
surfing became popular there. And you can kind of see, oh here, this is from the lighthouse.
Oh my God. Wow.
No,
Have a
that's not a
blank
good
screen.
picture, but
Oh.
anyway, you can see, so it's a
Yeah.
lighthouse there.
Oh.
People stand on top of it,
Wow.
and they
Oh
can
my
watch these
goodness.
people surf these massive waves.
Ah.
That's a person right
Oh,
there.
it's a wave.
So the waves aren't big when we're going to be there. They usually start in February, the big wave surfing, but it's a cool place to see it. You can see if you watch this show, then it's nice to be able to, you know, put it to perspective. And then, yeah, this whole area is a really nice flat long beach. There's lots of shops and restaurants and ice cream places along here. It's a really like typical seaside town. Yeah, so that's Nazaré.
Montana.
Okay,
Did you
and then
read-
from Nazaré we go to Batala or Batla, which is off here to the right. And this is where we're going to stay overnight, Batla. Batla is really small, and it's really known for the monastery that we're visiting. And we're staying at the hotel that is, I think it's this one. Yeah, the list is right across from the monastery, which is really cool. You can see it right from the restaurant,
Nice.
right there, which is neat.
Oh.
So we'll stay there that night, and then the next day is when we have the tour that goes through this building. And it's so beautiful inside. It's very that Gothic kind of feel to it. And there's even some sections that haven't been finished and probably won't ever be finished. It's pretty neat to see. So that's Batla. And then I'm probably not saying that right, but I'll say Batla. And then from there, we go down to Obidos, which is down here in this area. And again, Obidos, they say their S's on the ends like shush sounds. So we go down to Obidos. The most that we'll be driving is about 2 hours between the towns, by the way, which is not too bad. And so this town is really cool. We're staying at a place called the Literary Man, which is a library, a book themed hotel. And it's so neat. Like all the walls are covered in books. Your rooms are covered in books. Can be a little bit musty because of that. They don't have enough dehumidifiers, but it's a really unique accommodation. And the town here is an old walled city, and you can walk through it. There's these beautiful cobblestone streets, and then at the top is a castle, and you can look out over the countryside below, which is really cool. Obidos is one of the only places that you could get this cherry liqueur called Ginja, Ginja, and they serve it in chocolate shot glasses, and then you can eat the chocolate after.
Oh.
Really tasty.
Good thing we're hiking. We'll burn it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
We do a lot of walking, so we burn off all the calories.
Yeah.
So that's Obidos, and then which is really close to Lisbon, as you can see from here. Obidos is here, and this is Lisbon. We head down to Lisbon. And Lisbon, it doesn't look like it, but it's a pretty big city. It's has lots of hills. Sorry, cars just parked right in front of me.
Which is
It's sorry about that. This is
Oh.
it's crazy. See, if you're at the hotel, let's say, and you're looking up at a restaurant to go to for the evening, and it says it's a 500 meters away from your hotel. It could take you, no joke, an hour to walk there because of the hills. So it's more, you should look up the distance and how hilly it is to get there before you go off on a walk. That bit me before. But yeah, really neat. Each area has its own feel to it. There's like a Jewish quarter. There's more of a modern section. There's a business kind of center as well. We're going to be staying, our hotel is we are up in this area here. That's not that we're not staying at that chalet, but in this area. So pretty centrally located, really nice. In the kind of southwestern quadrant is where a lot of the music, the fado comes from, fado music. And there's a lot of restaurants around here that are fado based, really nice. Down in Bajka de Lisboa, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Bajka, there is a Time Out market. So Time Out magazine, they've created these markets that are really similar to Granville Island Market for anyone that's in the Vancouver area. So loads of different food vendors, and they're actually like small restaurants of a restaurant that's already in the city, which is really neat. And there's things like donut shops and coffee, and then you have places that do sushi and fried chicken and like everything you could get. And then in the same market, but right next door, there's a flower vendor, flowers, and then right next door to that is meat and fish. So it's a really neat place to go. You could walk around, get some lunch or dinner. And then I think in the evening, most evenings, they have live music there too, which is kind of neat. And also where is it? Belém, the Belém district, which I think is somewhere around this area, is where so pastel de nata is actually pastel de Belém, which is the original custard tart, and it comes from Lisbon. They can only call it pastel de Belém from this one bakery. Everywhere else calls it de nata, which is kind of interesting. And they're so good. Okay, so that's Lisbon. Then from Lisbon, we are now heading into our second week, the hiking week. So we head down to the first town we're visiting, which is called Villanova del Mil Fonts, which is down on here. Okay, so we drive from Lisbon, crossing over, and we enter Villanova. Along the way, we're stopping to go to a winery and have a little taste of this local wine. And this winery we're visiting is, they have a strong recycling aspect. So they use cork for their stops, which now a lot of people use plastic. And they also use recycled paper for their labels. Kind of neat. We end up in Milfonts, and it's a very small town here. You can kind of see there's not a lot going on. There's a couple restaurants, and our hotel is right here, Milfonts Beach here. It's right across from on the road from the beach area. And there's a lovely little restaurant that we went to way over on the tip over here, that they catch their own fish and cook it in the evening. This is going to be our base for 2 nights. So if you have any laundry to do, this is going to be the first opportunity really that you could do that at. And from here is where we start to do the hikes. So we'll do a hike. Well, the first hike we're doing was we're taking a boat, and we didn't get to do this in 22 because of the rain. We take a boat across the river and we start doing our hiking over here, which is neat. The hikes are a mix of circle treks that will start and stop from the same spot. Or what happens is, because we have 2 guides with 2 cars, is they'll drop us off at the trailhead, and then the other people will drive to the next stop at the end, leave their car, and then come back to the beginning. So we'll always have and then once the hike is over, that car will then drive the other person back and pick up their car. So it's a little different way of doing it, but it's a nice kind of locals feel to it. You don't have to wait for public buses or anything. We're really going to be hiking all along this coastline, all along here. This is the Western Algarve section. Okay. And our next stop that we will make is, so that's for 2 nights. And then we're going to Alajur, which is here, Alajur. And staying at a hotel here, which is a small family-run hotel. They have a nice pool as well. And again, this is a really big fishing district area all along the coastline. Surfing and some really good food. And we're staying there for 2 nights and doing all the hiking around that area, including this one, the Capitillera. This is one of the circuit hikes that we're doing. And then we make our way down to Sagres. This is the last stop we're staying here again for 2 nights at the Memo Valeria Hotel, which is really beautiful. It's this hotel here on the edge. And it's right on the water. There's an indoor pool, an outdoor pool, a sauna, a steam room. So it's a nice place to end, and you can kind of relax a little bit after the week of hiking. And we'll have 2 days hiking here. One of them will be at the tip of the most eastern part of Europe, which is on this part here, Cabo de São Vicente. Yeah, so doing hikes around this area. Sagres has also some really nice pottery, ceramic stores too. If you didn't get any anywhere else in Portugal, this is your last stop to get it. And yeah, that's a good opportunity too. We'll have our farewell dinner, and then the next day, everyone, I think almost everyone is going to be leaving to Faro, and which is way over here. So Sagres all the way to Faro. That's where the airport is. Lagos is another really popular town that people visit to from in the Algarve, and it's they don't have an airport, but it's kind of the closest main hub if anyone wants to have any extra time. But yeah, so this is about an hour and a half's drive to get to Faro. That's why we have to leave so early. Okay, that kind of gives you an idea of all the traveling that we're doing. But it's nice because we're in smaller vehicles. We're not in a large coach bus. So we could park in the cities and, you know, not have to walk too far. When you're in those large coaches, you generally have to park pretty outside and then take public transit in because they can't find parking anywhere. So that's one of the main reasons why we chose this company that we're going with. Have a more of a personal feel to it. That's that.
Okay,
Any questions about the map?
thank you.
Very
Yay.
much.
Good. Okay, I'm going to stop this share. Okay. Well, again, we have a couple months, so if you have any questions, feel free to call me, email me, whatever. We can talk about anything. If you have any concerns, again, reach out. I'm really excited. I'm so happy to see that you see your faces, putting faces to names of those that I haven't met before. It's great. We're going to have such a good time. And I'll send out again, also in the email, I'll send out this link to the meeting, the recording, so you can look at it if you want to. I'll send out the packing list, again, the accommodation one, and any other, the frequently asked questions list that has some of the information that I talked about tonight as well. And I'll also mention about the donation aspect if you don't want to have a hard copy of your final documents. And some more information about August 28th as well, meeting time and place. And then as we get closer in September, I'll send out another message that says this is where our orientation meeting and time is going to be in Porto at the hotel. Okay, but it'll be at the hotel, so just in case you know, you're off wandering somewhere, you just come back around 5.
I was wondering, do most of the hotels have toiletries like shampoo?
Yeah,
If I carry on?
yeah, most of them do. They would have shampoo and body wash. Yeah, and I don't think any of the hotels that we're going to don't have that.
Good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so that's nice. You don't have to bring a whole bunch with you. And then again, most of them will have hair dryers as well. And safes. Some places, there's one Milfont, Villanova de Milfonts, that place you have to rent a safe if you want to have it in your room.
Rent a
It's kind
what?
of it's like a, you know, like a personal safe to put your, if you want to put your passport in it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to rent it, which is interesting.
If we don't get to the meeting on the 28th of August, how will we get our packet?
I'll mail it to you. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can't come, I'll send it in the mail.
Okay, and mine probably to the Sunshine Coast then.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think you have my address, but I'll get it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. That's easy enough.
And I'll do an e-document, so.
Okay. Oh, great. I could mail it to you if you want, Laura.
I'm
No,
good.
you're fine with E? Okay. Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, we're getting there. Let the countdown begin.
Very exciting.
Yeah. It'll be really nice to travel with all of you. I'm looking forward to it.
It's nice to meet all of you.
Yeah.
You too.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you so much for joining, Laura. And
Yeah, thanks for having
Yeah.
this.
we'll
Bye.
let you go now. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
full. It's 9. It's 9 there now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go to bed, but they're shooting off fireworks and my poor dog's a little anxious. You know, it's the eve of the 4th of July or in.
4th
Oh,
of
yeah.
July, yeah.
No.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
fireworks.
snuggle up with him and make sure he is okay.
Oh, that's sweet.
Aw.
Nice to meet all of you.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to meet you.
everyone.
Bye.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you all so much.
Thanks,
and
Hannah.
We'll
Thanks,
talk to you soon.
Hannah.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.